Thank you for putting us your time. Now, briefly, tell us what is the optimism around the upcoming second edition of Kenya Trade Week?
The optimism around the upcoming second Kenya Trade Week and Exposition is so huge. Many Kenyans are interested on trade matters. Kenyans would like to know how many agreements the government has done, what are the opportunities existing within those agreements, how many market researches have been done by EPC, what are the opportunities. Because as you all know, Kenyans are a vibrant community, go-getters who would like to exploit opportunities beyond the borders, and they are looking up to the trade week. All Kenyans, including our leaders, including our ordinary citizen companies, the fourth estate who are the media, are also looking up, because trade is one of the ways that the country can be able to achieve economic prosperity in a sustainable way. When you talk about inclusive growth, matters of business, enterprise development, matters of establishing companies, doing business either with government or among the private sector, is one of the areas that is going to be, that has been earmarked for taking Kenya to the next level in terms of economic progress. And what is the next level for Kenya in terms of economic progress? It is for Kenya to transform itself into a higher middle income economy, which means $4,000 per capita. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Kenya transforming itself using business, trade and manufacturing is one of the 4 pillars in President Uhuru Kenyatta's agenda. And in the budget that was read, quite a substantial amount of money was allocated towards trade and manufacturing. Do you think just allocating money is enough to spur trade, or we need other supporting things to be done to spur trade and development in the country?
At the end of the day, as a country, we have a national development plan. We have a Vision 2030. Over the last 5 years, the government has been able, for example, to invest in infrastructure. The government has been able to invest in modernizing institutions, modernizing our trade facilitation, organization and infrastructure. And after this year's election, the president has come out and pronounced the Big Four agenda. And what it means is that the focus of government planning and the focus of resource allocation shifts into execution of the Big Four agenda. One of the Big Four agenda is manufacturing, which we seek to grow manufacturing from 8.4% share of GDP in 2017 to 15% share of gross domestic product. Now, allocation of funds is the first commitment, because for any successful economic strategy, economic history has put it correctly. For any economic transformation in any country, it has to have political will. There has to be that leadership like the one the president has given. And what that leadership translates into is reprioritizing and replanning and reorientation of our national budgets towards the achievement of the Big Four agenda. There's been a lot of allocation, as you can see, in the area of manufacturing and industry. But for us, for the country, you look at even the whole budget in totality, the allocation to health is going to be very critical in defining the direction the manufacturing sector will take as a country. The allocation to education, or what we call human capital development, in terms of ensuring that our children get the right education, those who have graduated from high school get the right training, is also going to be very important in terms of delivery of the manufacturing sector. So yes, this is necessary, but it is not going to be sufficient, because what it means, transforming, for example, manufacturing from 8.4% share of GDP to 15% share of GDP requires over 1 trillion of investments in the country. And Kenya alone, or domestic investors alone, cannot make it. And that is why, through access to government procurement opportunity, for example, where the government has said, okay, let's empower youth and women so that they can be able to get funds to invest, we have to reach out to our partners in the African continent. We have to reach out to foreign direct investors to come in here through the New Companies Act, export processing zones, special economic zones incentives, to invest with us so that we can mobilize necessary capital to take Kenya to a take-off stage.
Speaking of reaching out to other foreign investors to come to our country, Kenya seems to have signed numerous trade agreements. We are in the East African community where you have numerous trade agreements. There is also the Africa trade area that we also party to. The other day we were negotiating with Americans when they came to our country, and numerous deals were signed. We also secretly now talking about post-Brexit in terms of trade, how Kenya can benefit. All these trade agreements, are they conflicting or they're serving the same purpose?
In fact, they are serving the same purpose. I want to tell you that indeed that's a big opportunity for Kenya. The fact that Kenya has been able to build international relations and cooperation with countries within the continent and countries out of the continent. It's a positive move. And what is happening, for example, in the African Continental Free Trade Area, countries are now moving from loan, bilateral or loan engagements above or beyond also regional engagements to continental engagement. Because you look at European Union have been able to set up one community, whereas as member states, they become very robust, first of all, to utilize their own local market. For example, if we are able to achieve the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, it means Kenya, first of all, will have 1.3 billion citizens. Before you start, that's the best. And that's what the Europeans have done. That is what the Americans have done. That is what the Asians are doing. And economic history is correct and is pointing in that direction. And it is no wonder that the president was able to sign the Africa Continental Free Trade Area within a span of a month. Kenya was able to ratify, and we were able to deposit our instrument of ratification at the Africa Union headquarters in Addis Ababa. Now the challenge comes here. The government has done its part. We have trade agreements. It is up to the Kenyans, wherever they are. It is up to private sector in this country. It is up to the media. It is up to me and yourself to ensure that now we take advantage of what the government has achieved by engaging. If we have opened the Tanzanian market, we've just come from Tanzania. What is so difficult for Kenyans to start doing business in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Africa? What is so difficult for Kenyans even in diaspora to represent us as ambassadors? Because even if you travel to other countries abroad, you will still love your country. So being an ambassador in the country you are in, and what we saw in Tanzania, Kenyans in Tanzania, very passionate. We had a diaspora forum there in Tanzania, and Kenyans did not want us to end the dinner. It was 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and Kenyans do not want to go away. They just want to, they are enthusiastic. They want to hear about Kenya. They want to see what we are doing. And this is a positive move. What we just need to do now is to rally behind the president and every one of us to play their part. If your part is to broadcast in the media, make sure you do it to your perfection. If your part is, to be a businessman, do it and expose Kenya. We met with Equity. Equity has a very strong presence in Tanzania. KCB and other Kenyan companies, Bidco. So this is the message that we want to take out there through this year's Trade Week. Because we want to tell Kenyans there is a lot of opportunity existing outside there. And the government has done their part. We continue to do our part. But now it's up to all of us as Kenyans, led by the private sector,
to seize the moment.
To seize the moment and make a difference for your country. My name, I am Peter K. Watts. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Export Promotion Council. I would like to welcome all Kenyans of all walks of life to participate during the Trade Week, which is beginning on 29th of July until 1st of August. During the Trade Week, there is going to be, discussions, forums to discuss progress in the trade sector.